Hey, aloha, everybody. Once again, it's obviously Brian Ridgway. My friends and clients and fans call me the Spellbreaker for reasons you're going to probably find out more about in just a moment. And today I'm with Maile Schaefer. Carol, say howdy to everybody.
Hello and aloha.
All right, so I do reverse interviews. People that have been through my programs, had breakthroughs, I like to interview them and actually pull the clearest message that I can out. And people just watching these seemingly testimonial videos actually are having breakthroughs and insights. And this will probably be one of the most awesome ones because Carol has been a psychologist for over 35 years now. And so I do a little bit of introduction, but I also want Carol to introduce herself. So she discovered me on Facebook months ago. And would it be fair to say that you were quite skeptical? Would that be accurate?
Yeah, that would be very fair to say.
And so 35 years as a psychologist, a lot of self-help, and I'll have you give a little bit of background on your self-help, personal dev, and law of attraction background in just a second. Really skeptical, saw some of my free videos, a bunch, she said, read my book, and just finished the first Freedom7. I invited 7 people, and since we didn't reach out to our whole list, we just invited a few people. We had 5 people show up. So our first Freedom7 ended up being a Freedom5. That's okay. And we did 7 sessions over 7 weeks. Amazing. And so this testimonial video is focused on that. However, because she's a psychologist and has the background she has, I asked her if we could do an actual interview. So Carol, if you would just say a little bit about your psychological background, anything that might be helpful for people to know what you help people to solve and overcome, how long you've been doing it, that type of thing.
Okay. So I have been in private practice for over 35 years. And my main focus working with people is depression, anxiety, self-esteem, which I would put in parentheses, identity, true identity, for those who are open to that. And I do incorporate as much spirituality into my work as the people who come to me are interested in. Beautiful. So I've been, yeah.
Okay. And then your own, as far as your own self-help journey, I know that you said you have been through, you've dove into a lot of therapy for yourself over the years. So if you would say a little bit about what you were dealing with as transparently as you're willing, and the more so, the more it helps the people listening, and what some of the self-help journey that you took on, including therapies, that you dove into in order to allay and solve those pains and life issues.
So if I go way back to when I first started therapy, I was 18 years old, and I had been what I call low-grade depression my whole childhood. Never debilitating, but just felt pretty lousy about myself. And so I got into therapy at 18. I had been in pretty much weekly therapy for many, many, many years during my 20s and into my 30s. And then I started getting into spirituality and learning about the fact that we're not really physical and there's no real physical universe, and that we're infinite beings and all that. And that has continued with me up until I met you. That I had these 2 aspects, the therapy part, and I did a lot of cognitive work with people and with myself, hence the law of attraction, because that's all about thinking and feeling. And so I got into all that, and nobody married for me the truth of who we are with the breathing to get rid of the gunk that is buried that you don't even know is there.
Yeah.
So really, this has been the first program or book or teaching that I've come across that has opened the way.
Beautiful. So I'm going to underline that. All of these videos are obviously very, very self-serving for me, right? I am doing this transparently to establish credibility, trust. You know, when there's a rule in business. If you're offering something that takes some explanation, you need a lot of proof behind it. If you're sharing something that's kind of hard to believe, You need a lot of proof behind it. If you're sharing something that requires explanation, it's a little hard to understand, it's friggin' weird, and it's really hard to believe because you're talking about a giant promise. We're talking about complete, total personal freedom, solving not only a problem, but dissolving the illusion of problems, right? So with that, the more proof, the better. Someone right now is literally watching this video of you with you and me and going, oh my God, this is actually freaking real. I've been thinking this guy was crazy for the last 3 years on Facebook. Holy shit. Okay, so here's what I hear to sum it up in a nutshell. 35 years as a psychologist, staying on top of what works, investigating, as we talked about before the interview, investigating, staying on top of the journals, watching what works now, and doing the best you can to really help people who are suffering from anxiety, depression, happiness issues, we could say.
Absolutely.
And on your own self-help journey, 30 plus years, books and studying deeply, reading, studying the gurus, the masters, and finding either mindset approaches that didn't really get to the spiritual roots and spiritual approaches that didn't get to the physical, practical roots. Okay, that's a perfect summary. And when you found this, that was the key.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you say is the difference? Now, you can do this from a psychological and personal perspective, whatever works for you. What would you say is the difference between me and my approach compared to everything? Because there's some great stuff out there. What would you say the difference is that caused this to be the thing for you and so many other people?
Well, number one, the shifting of the paradigm, which I had in the other teaching, that by itself isn't enough. You know, knowing that you're an infinite being in and of itself is great, but it doesn't assimilate into your being as long as you've got emotional constipation.
Yeah.
I love that terminology because I feel like we've been doing some rotor-rootering here. And so for me, the best part of this, well, I can't say it's the best part because it's the combination of the shifting the paradigm and then clearing out the gunk that kept that new paradigm kept it from assimilating. It was sort of like just maybe sitting on top of all the shit that was inside of there. And honestly, Brian, I didn't think I had any shit in there. I mean, I've been in therapy my whole friggin' life. Yeah. I really did not think I had any shit in there. And when we started doing this breathing, well, on some level, I must have known because I was having difficulties breathing. I was, quote, asthmatic. And yet, if you had asked me to describe my life, I would have said it was great. And I meant it. I wasn't making that up. Yeah. But I was also not really free. And I knew that. And that was the piece for me that wasn't going to let me rest because I could have enough money. I could have all the friends in the world. But that freedom that I was never able to achieve until I started to purge some of this stuff that I didn't even know was in there, really for me was the gift of your approach.
That is so beautiful. And what's up with that asthma now? What's up with that?
Well, I don't think my lungs even knew that they could expand to the extent that they have in the last couple of days. It actually hurt to breathe initially.
I remember. Yeah.
It was surprising to me. And because it hurt, I just didn't do it.
That's right.
And so my breath got shallow. And I remember, gosh, it's got to be 20 years ago, I was doing Taekwondo and my grandmaster said to me, "You don't breathe." And I remember thinking, oh whatever.
Yeah.
I'm breathing. Look.
Yeah.
But I had no idea. So the breathing work really, and I know you emphasize it, and I didn't believe you. Until you really held my feet to the fire.
Carol, I've worked with thousands of people before I really got the supreme importance of the breath. And I was getting miraculous results with people. And when I started to incorporate the breath more and more, it revealed itself to me in my own life, in my own personal happiness and joy and my connection. And so as I've in over the last 4 years, really brought it in more and more and more, it is at the core of these miracles. Now, the breath alone will do a lot. You bring in the paradigm shift and the breath and the energy work and all those fragmentary things that are being done out there in the world, bring it together under this paradigm, and it is miraculous. It's literally miraculous.
Well, and the only thing I didn't say, and I should say, and the reason why I didn't is because I don't want you to be the only one who can do this. I want to be able to do this too. You have a gift. You have a gift of honing in and knowing where somebody is and asking the right question and saying the right thing at the right time. And I want to be able to do that. So
yeah, that's perfect.
That's why I didn't want to say that.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, I listen, in the world, especially in America, in the system where we're taught, don't brag, don't toot your own horn. You know, I got a strong 2-word philosophy about that. It starts with F.
Right.
And the second word is it, you know, or that.
Right.
I don't buy it. And I do have a gift, and I've had it since I was about 3 years old, you know, and one of the things I do is I encourage other people to acknowledge their gifts, even though they've been programmed for a lifetime not to. Step up, turn on your light, and kick ass and make it awesome. You know, nobody gets harmed in the making of this movie. So I do. And we're in the process right now. Carol, this is so trippy. We're in the process right now of putting together the roots of our certification to teach this.
Awesome.
And it's going to be amazing. So now that leads to the next point. You revealed something to me right before the interview that was amazing. So you went through a bunch of my free, you said all of them. You went through a lot of my free videos. Seeing if it was seeing if it was real, seeing if it was legit, seeing if I wavered from my message or whatever. Read the book. Screw it. I'm going to join his program. So you joined Conscious Creation first, right?
No, Freedom 7.
You came straight into Freedom 7. Wow. I think everybody else in Freedom 7 was kind of graduating, stepping even.
No, because I didn't want the online stuff. Like, I know me, I wouldn't sit down and watch it, and I wanted you.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Here we are. So you did the program, and how would you, I mean, we literally did the last session yesterday.
Right.
And how would you, in the simplest and punchiest terms, how would you rate that program, and by the end, your experience in it?
Well, the fact that I've signed up to come out and be with you in Hawaii, I think, is a pretty big testimonial to how.
And that's where we're okay. Well, then let's let that be that. So yesterday, at the end of the session, 2 people, you and Andrea, said, "That's it. I'm coming to Hawaii to do." So I often do 4-day immersions sometimes with individuals, and I'm moving more into the small groups. And it is not a small investment at all. It's a significant investment, and 4 days of buckling down into this miraculous, crazy, wacky, awesome stuff. Of course, we're going to get wet in turquoise water. We're going to sit on lava. We're going to have amazing experiences. It's going to be intense. And you shared something to me that I don't really necessarily believe in compliments or criticisms anymore, but in a way it's complementary to what I do. So you said after 35 years as a psychologist, part of the reason why you're coming to Hawaii, not just for yourself, but so rather than me saying it, you say it. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of it is for myself, because what I know is if I am not able to live it, I can't be a blessing to anybody. So everybody else is sort of secondary to me, although I think it has to be that way. I think it does have to be that way. Yeah. So I would love to be a blessing to more people, but I really, Brian, I have been after this since the 1990s, early 1990s. I did the Silva method. It was called Silva Mind Control in 82. Me too. Me too. So I have been, and that was sort of just like meditation and stuff like that. That wasn't really quite. Then when I got into the other mystical teachings, where we learned that there's no physical world, blah blah blah.
I have known some people who, and they're all gone, who were living it, and I could feel it. And when I saw you, even though it bothered me that you sold, I was like, this guy's got it. This guy's living it. I can feel it. I just know it. And having experience, that's why I went right to the live thing with you, because I wanted to experience you, because I knew that was magical, and it has been incredibly magical.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfectly said. So I like to wrap these up. I'm very grateful for you taking the time. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I know it's going to bless a lot of people. Be cool if we could get this in front of a bunch of psychologists and have a bunch of psychologists actually learn this transformational system, so that instead of 35, 40 years of therapy, they get a few hours of stepping into freedom, you know, and I know that you can be a catalyst for that. You will. I like at the end just to invite the person I'm interviewing, in this case you, to just, if there's something you feel like sharing, and it can be about me, it could be an encouragement to someone who's sitting on the fence, or just whatever you feel to share. Putting you on the spot.
Well, what I would say is, I don't think there was a bigger skeptic than me. And I am so thrilled and delighted and overjoyed, really, that we work together, and that Freedom7, and I cannot wait to come out to Hawaii.
Awesome. Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it. Love you, sister.
Thank you. Love you too.